A sector greatly impacted by COVID-19 is the auto industry. Well, many countries actually depend on the car industry, both for GDP and employing its citizens. Well, the pandemic brought manufacturing to a practical halt across the world. Some plants are extending the shutdowns, while some are actually preparing to reopen. China was one of the first to gradually reopen in April, and a top auto industry official said the country saw an increase of auto sales of 0.9% last month, year on year. But for more, we are joined by Lauren Fix, the car coach. Lauren, good to see you. Thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me back.
Well, Lauren, China's auto sales would end an almost 2-year decline if they really did rise to that 0.9%. What do you think caused this?
Well, I know that they've eliminated the registration fees. There typically were additional registration fees. When you've got 300 million cars on the road, obviously one of the things you want to do is get people back to the dealerships. They were closed essentially for 2 months. And one of the ways to do that is eliminate registration fees and increase the EV fee, which they've been trying to get more people into electric vehicles because the goal is to eliminate fossil fuels in the country of China. So they're trying to get people more motivated. And I think another factor would be is that people are kind of straying away from mass transit. We're seeing that here in the U.S. as well, meaning that people are willing to purchase a vehicle.
Well, this week, Tesla was scheduled to resume production at its Shanghai factory in China, but it abruptly suspended its start of the production. And on Friday, a leaked email apparently showed that Tesla is actually looking to restart production in a U.S. car plant in Fremont. Still, they're only operating at about 30%. How is this affecting Tesla?
Oh, it's definitely going to affect the bottom line because you still have overhead and costs. I know that Fremont's planning now to open at the end of May, but as far as Shanghai, that's where they brought the Model Y out, and there are some Model Ys here in the U.S. And of course, you know, when they're new, they want to make sure to keep that buzz going. Sales were initially pretty good for Tesla in China, so I guess he's hoping to continue that.
Well, and that and the back orders that we know exist for the company, so it's definitely affecting it. Speaking of Tesla, now the U.S. auto industry is preparing to reopen, but the U.S. heavily relies on the supply parts from plants in Mexico, actually just south of here. About 40%, is that right, of imports actually come from Mexico. And Mexico is actually still working on a plan to reopen a lot of these auto industry plants. What effect are we going to see here?
Well, the supply chain is very important. So that's what there's going on in Michigan as well. They've had everything locked down. Light manufacturing and components are going to start up on Monday, the 11th. That's the goal right now. And that's also true in Mexico and in Canada. That will get the supply chain going. I don't know if a week is enough, but it'll start certainly supplying some of the products for manufacturers who are planning to open up, to begin with Ford and a couple other manufacturers who are already up and running by the 18th of May. There are still a couple manufacturers who have not announced any start dates, and I think the problem is they're really concerned about supply chain. Remember, they literally stopped the production line, so there are some components in the factories.
Right, and we know that auto sales have also declined about 800,000 cars sales, fewer than predicted for this time of year. We'll see how this industry recovers and if Congress actually pushes to give them the stimulus that they're looking to possibly give. Lauren Fix, the car coach. Lauren Fix, the car coach. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.